Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Marcus.
And I'm Charlie, and this is the Mood Booster podcast.
In this episode, we're talking about why you might feel sad in the darker months, reflecting on seasonal changes.
Exactly. If you live in the UK, you might notice that it's actually gotten quite dark and cold recently. The seasons have changed very, very quickly. So we thought, in the nature of finding joy in the everyday and looking after our own well-being, we thought we'd reflect a little bit on how to navigate these next few months with intentionality.
For sure. It's a really cool episode. Lots of science in this one, but obviously, as always, very manageable and palatable. We look at the circadian rhythm, break down what that is, explain what that is, talk about the interaction between UV and light exposure and our well-being and our moods, and actually what decades of empirical data or research is saying about that. We look at the amygdala, as always, lovely evolutionary theory in this podcast. So we're looking at the amygdala functioning and how that interacts with sunlight and the winter months. But yeah, we also reflect ourselves on our own experiences, as always, and kind of unpack what this change means to us.
Exactly that. Towards the end of the episode, as usual, we give you the tools and tips on how you can navigate these next few months with intentionality and make sure that you're boosting your mood and really trying to find joy in the everyday. We're using these tools ourselves, and we hope that you can also use them as well. Let us know which ones that you find most useful in the comments. We also just hope that you really, really enjoyed this episode because we had a lot of fun recording it.
In this podcast, we share evidence-based advice, tools, and tips to help you boost your mood, improve your well-being, and find joy in the everyday.
We talk about life's highs, lows, and everything in between with real stories and reflections from our own journeys as well.
With pillars rooted in introspection, connection, and presence, this is the home of well-being and joy.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Woo! Hello, everyone.
Buongiorno.
Welcome back.
Welcome in.
It's good to have you here. Welcome to the Mood Booster podcast.
Welcome to episode 29.
29.
29.
Can you believe that? We're 29.
Do you believe in love after love?
Was that Michael Jackson, that one?
No, it was Cher Lloyd. By Cher Lloyd.
We just took a...
Which one?
Before that Vine reference comes in. It's great to have you guys here.
Sorry, everyone.
Welcome. Today's episode, we are talking about, quite on the contrary actually to how we're acting, why you feel sad in the darker months. We're sort of reflecting on seasonal change, aren't we?
We are indeed. Yeah. As always, we speak about what we're going through and our experiences, tying that to science, tying that to evidence. And at the moment, we have both been, we're here to speak about it today.
Of course.
But I don't think at one point, maybe we have, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have both individually been feeling a shift from the seasons and the light changing.
My word.
And I think in deciding what to talk about today, it felt prudent,
good word,
to use one of your favourite words,
good word, to
talk about that experience. In England, where we are, the mornings are very dark. It's dark now before, 7, I think. We finished our run at the run club the other night and it was pitch black halfway round. And that is something that we are both finding that we are actively
having to navigate.
We are aware of and having to navigate. Especially as we're getting up super early to do all of this lovely work.
100%.
It's a lot harder just to even get up, let alone how that's making us feel in terms of all of the things.
Completely agree. It's been very, I think we've said it, the shift in seasons is like a smack in the face for this year. Whoppa! Like, it was literally within 1 week, it shifted from summer to what felt like a very wintry autumn. The mornings instantly became like, is that a horn?
Yeah.
The mornings instantly became like 5 degrees. Sunrises were way, way later. I know it's a gradual thing, but everyone was saying it literally shifted so quickly.
It's crazy.
It's crazy loco.
It's like it's not done it every year for the last...
hundreds of millions of years.
Yeah, since
the birth of the planet.
That planet was made.
This God gave us the planet.
I was gonna anyway.
He is great.
Stop that.
Anywho, seasons changing.
Yes.
It's definitely something that we are having to navigate with intention. Otherwise, it sort of gets away from you.
Yeah.
Especially in the UK, wherever you are based, our lovely listener. If you've ever been to the UK or if you live here, you'll know it's pretty bleak in the winter.
Yeah, but I think we also know that seasonal mood changes and low mood in winter months is not a universal experience. It's not every single person feels a low mood, but it's definitely something that the population feels in general.
100%.
A study researching for this episode, I was looking a study a meta-analysis, so a study that looked at loads of other studies and summarized all of their data, was actually only just published this year, and found that just under 10% of the population, so their studies included global population.
Right, the world.
Yeah, so just under 10%, and there was over 32,000 participants in total. Just under 10% experienced some form of, I'll say the word and I'll explain it, subclinical seasonal affective disorder. So what that subclinical means is levels of symptoms like things like depression, low mood, anxiety. But when it's subclinical, it means it's not so severe that it warrants a diagnosis of a disorder such as depression in this case, seasonal affective disorder. So just under 10% of the population are feeling symptoms that are related to depression, but just not at a clinical
But like an
level.
increased state of whether it's anxiety or depression, then what would normally be?
Yes, related to the seasons and the changes in the seasons in winter months.
10% is massive if you think about it.
That's huge in terms of global prevalence.
That is insane.
Massive. So that is, for a bit of a rationale why we wanted to talk about it today. We know that you'll be experiencing potentially some shifts there. You could be the biggest fall gal there is, or guy. You could love your autumn.
Oh, fall.
It's like I'm a fall girl or whatever.
Oh, the US fall.
Yeah.
An autumn girly.
There's a whole thing. There's influencers who are influencers for fall.
Really?
I think so. Anyway, I'm not really in that realm.
Imagine
but
intentionally giving yourself seasonal work
yeah, well, they get lots of money
in the season of fall.
Yeah, with their pumpkin spice lattes and things.
Come spring, they're out on the streets asking for money.
Yeah, well, it's like Mariah Carey and what's his name, Michael Bublé.
Christmas
They make
songs.
all of their money in the winter months, and then they can go into hibernation. So it's the same.
They go into hibernation.
But yes, we know that people do enjoy those seasons and find autumn, for example, really cozy and magical and enchanting and all those things, whatever. But I think it's still an experience where there are differences and variations in even from a biological perspective, which we're excited to go into today.
100%.
That mean that darker days can be more difficult.
Exactly.
However, before we get into that,
100%.
Charlie,
Yes.
what have you been up to? Talk to me.
My week.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. My week was lovely. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
It was a fantastic week actually. Very very exciting weekend. One of my good old friends, Sam,
Ooh.
a little bit of a tidbit teaser. To be fair, our next week's episode, we'll be having a guest on. Very exciting.
I wonder who that could be.
You wonder who that is?
Ooh.
My old friend Sam, who I met years ago when I was out in Thailand scuba diving.
I know you're 25, but he's not that old. He's only 29.
Old. Didn't mean old in age. I meant old in
I'm really
time.
sorry. I thought you meant age.
Yeah, just to clarify. My old friend, who's also old, who I met in Thailand. Yeah, Sam, he came over for this weekend for a very exciting guest recording, which we'll be launching next week. I don't think we want to speak much more on all that, but it's honestly such a cool episode.
Yeah.
So that'll be out for next week as well. That was Saturday. And then, Sunday, we had the Vitality 10K, a race through London with Monday Mood Booster.
Yeah, we did.
With the best run club in London.
Vitality 10K.
Vitality, and that was sublime. The route was so cool. It was just through all the good parts of London. All the good parts, left, right, up, down.
You went left and right.
And
that
then
was
up and down.
Yeah.
It was such a good race run.
Yeah. It was lovely.
A run race, and that was on Sunday. So the weekend was busy. Chock-a-block.
Yeah.
It was indeed.
Yeah.
That was my weekend. Apart from that, it's just been,
Wait, didn't you discover some grassroots artists as well?
Oh, yes, we went to So Far Sounds, didn't
did.
we? Yes. Explain to the listener what So Far Sounds is.
So Far Sounds, do you remember how many cities they are in now?
465.
Is it? I thought it was 200 and something.
Nope.
Loco, está muy loco.
I think it's 465.
Okay.
Comment in the comments what number of cities so far sounds is in. And see
Yes.
if we got it right.
So far sounds as a concept, I can't remember when it came about, but I used to go like 10 years ago in Southampton. The whole thing is it's bringing music and performance back to like grounding it and back to what, people want it to be in terms of just intimate, less sort of huge spectacle, hundreds of pounds spent on tickets. So they always find these intimate spaces. It's lots of like, it's called sofa sounds because it's like you're sitting on a sofa, you're kind of in someone's sitting room or like a small little bar and you're sitting on a sofa watching a performer. And the premise is there's like 3 acts. Sometimes they can be big people and it's like a whole surprise thing, but they're also just sort of up and coming artists, and they come in and they play their sets and it's a lovely experience. You don't find out who the artists are until you're there. The locations are always secret until 36 hours before.
Very cool.
It's a lovely concept and it's been going on for years and they're everywhere now. Anyway, so we did that and we were on, what was it called? That thing that we were on?
We were on the Clipper Lounge. It was a boat on the Thames.
A clipper. That's a type of boat,
The Clipper.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on a clipper on the Thames with...
The Clipper. It's like a listed brand as the Clipper.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not a Tory, so I don't know these things.
Okay, I'm not either. Let's not do that.
So we were on the river, backdrop of like St Paul's, Millennium Bridge, Waterloo Bridge as well. Like all of these really cool things. Just watching this
Downton Abbey Bridge.
Yeah, we had all of the things. Just incredible. 3 really cool artists. One of which I think I really liked. I loved their guitar, and you were infatuated. It was straight onto Spotify.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, unfortunately, their EP's not out till next.
Jacob Coley was his name.
You've got such a good memory for
Did
those
you remember
things.
that?
Nope.
Jacob Coley was his name. Absolutely phenomenal. His music's not out yet. It comes out in January. I'm gutted. I was literally so keen to go and listen to it. The guitar, his friend Jack was also playing as well. They were like a duo. And my good lord.
I felt bad for Jack because Jacob was incredible and was good at singing and things. But from what they said, they'd made all their music together, all the songs written together. And Jack's... my favourite thing was Jack's guitar.
Yeah.
What kind of guitar is it?
A Gibson.
But like an electric
guitar, yeah.
A Gibson. And it was... I don't know what effects were on that guitar.
None, he said. I was baffled.
It was just like so enchanting.
My God.
And the sound of it was like kind of haunting in a way. It was so cool. And then obviously
ethereal sort of guitar.
The loop pedal and all those things. And yeah.
Dalup pedal.
Huh?
Dalup pedal?
Dalup pedal?
Yeah.
But as it's officially known.
Dalup pedal.
DALOOP, right?
Dalup.
Yeah.
No, it's great, wasn't it? It's also how I think music should be played and received as well.
Yeah. With your shoes off.
Okay. I try 1 point to contribute and I get absolutely mocked for it.
Go on, though, please elaborate.
No, like, it's so nice. They literally were so intentional with saying, no phones, please. Keep your distractions to a minimum. Don't talk. Like, just so everyone was so focused. And if you think about it, all music, even the, music that, like, whoever would like, is, like, good music has soul put into it, has effort put into it. And I think it's only right that because it's such an expression of creativity.
Yeah.
It's not listened to quickly on like a bustling train or whatever it is whilst you're scrolling as well. It's taken in with intentionality.
Yeah.
And that's their goal, is to strip it back to that every week.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Very cool.
I liked it a lot.
So had a good time at that.
Busy weekend.
Was busy. Yeah. How are you feeling in general?
Feeling all right, actually. I know last week I was feeling overwhelmed. A little bit under the weather, if you're asking, actually. Yeah. Overall feeling okay, though. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, likewise. I think last week was a real tricky week, just feeling overwhelmed. I think in line with everything we're going to talk about today as well. I think that was definitely a contributing factor. But feeling tired, overwhelmed, just sort of, this is all too much in terms of not one specific thing. When I say this is all, I mean like figuratively speaking, and also most certainly not like... Anyway, not... I heard what it sounded like. This is all too much. I don't mean sort of on a bigger scale, this is all too much. Just like small tasks all just felt too much, and like things were just difficult to manage. So yeah, that was last week, but I'm feeling better this week. Still like aware of where that was, and it doesn't just miraculously go away. Still aware that I'm like working on, looking after myself, getting out, trying to find ways of working through this darkness and all those things in terms of daylight and whatnot. But yeah, feeling better and feeling Glad to be here. Very, very excited to be here.
Good.
Yeah, we're going to
Very
San.
nice.
So I won't go into it. We'll talk about it afterwards. But we're going
Yeah.
to San. We're going to San Sebastian on the weekend, which will be lovely.
We are indeed.
With the run club.
I
Just
can't wait.
literally for 2 days.
Yeah.
No annual leave required.
No, Friday till Monday job. Friday evening till Monday morning.
yeah.
A very short trip, but the food's going to be...
Yeah. What's that?
Can't wait. Someone's going to take that soundbite and make something weird about it, I think. What have I done?
But it might be nice there because there might be a bit more daylight potentially.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't put it in the chat. On my way to work yesterday, I was looking at the weather for San Sebastian.
Yeah.
And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, full sun. I took a screenshot of it, and then I looked, and Saturday and Sunday was like rain. I was like, I'm not gonna send anything in just in case that is true. I'm hoping that the sun delays itself.
Yeah.
Because that'd be really annoying if it didn't.
Will be great.
But alas, as we know, the weather, or at least the seasons, will do what they do.
Exactly. And what do we do with that?
What do you mean?
Okay. What I was going to ask you,
Nice segue, champ.
Segue, yeah.
I know.
Sometimes they fall flat.
Yep.
When your co-host is dumb.
Oh my god. Do you mean that?
No, I was talking about myself.
Yep.
I'm not dumb.
Negative self-talk, episode 13. Go listen to it.
I know.
That is episode 13.
Sorry about that, everyone.
Apologise to our listener here, you with us.
I'm sorry. Lo
Episode
siento.
Episode 26.
Lo
I have to
siento.
apologise properly.
Okay, I will do.
It's just like referencing
Make sure you listen
every
to
single
that
thing.
episode. It's a great episode. Charlie,
Yes, that's my name.
don't wear it out. Tell me. I'm interested to know. I kind of know
Yep.
from having been your friend and observing. That sounds weird, but like seeing your moods and how you feel about things like the sun and whatnot. But can you sort of unpack how the seasons changing sort of feels for you and what you experience? Because I see you to be someone who absolutely adores, is infatuated with, like, worships the sun. So I would imagine or would assume from that when that doesn't happen. Anyway.
There's an art to asking a question.
You carry on.
I shall start.
The floor's yours.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you for that lovely intro, Marcus. I completely agree. It's great to be here. No, in all seriousness, yeah. If you know me, I'm someone who loves the sun, probably a little bit too much. I literally had a necklace with the sun on it for a couple of years. Like, I just love the sun. I love the warmth. I don't know what it is. It's almost a comfort into words. I love it. I absolutely love it. Even when it's cold, I love, like, a crisp winter's day when it's chilly but the sun's out. I absolutely love it. For me, what I actually would say I struggle with is continual grey. And something that in London, or in England I should say, is something through the winter, the shift into just grey, like that being the sort of state of normality, I do find quite tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what I've found within myself, I've had to be very intentional with how I see winter and all these things. It just, I don't know, moving from summer when you have such long days, you're outside constantly, a lot more social, like there's so much joy to be found in just the everyday moment in summer. Shifting to winter when those things go away, I found for myself, I wouldn't go as far to say I experience seasonal affective disorder or anything along those lines, but there's definitely feelings of isolation, maybe some loneliness, maybe just a general a high level of like anxiety and sort of worry that because it's colder or because, for whatever reason it's more grey, it just, I don't know, I typically feel things harder, I'd say, in the winter. Like, not deep things more, because that's I don't like that word, but yeah, I feel things harder, or I don't know, I don't have as much resolve emotional resolve when it comes to long stints of grey. And I was saying this to you yesterday, it's not like a instant switch. Like, it gets grey and I'm like, oh my god, it's a very gradual process. Like, I'll just find myself, I'll just realise after like having it been like 2 months of being grey and not really seen the sun actually for about 2 months, I'll be like, okay, wow, I've not seen the sun in a long time. I don't feel as good as I was doing 3 months ago or 2 months ago. And there's definite fluctuations as well with how it works. It can be anything from whether I'm waking up slightly later because of just it being darker, or being indoors more, on screens more, seeing fewer groups of friends, or going on fewer trips, whatever it is, all very privileged things to have. When those become less, I think I feel that harder when it gets greyer.
Yeah.
That's my overall sort of unpacking this. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. You mentioned about it being like the rate at which that happens.
It being very gradual.
Yeah.
It's not noticeable for myself. Like, especially if I mean, the season itself shifting recently has been a very quick smack in the face, but my feelings towards it have not. Like, I still feel like, I mean, I've been outside so much this summer and been doing so much. I'm still, I'd say, right now in a state where I'm happily coasting still off the high of summer. Obviously, it's turning towards autumn. I'd say I've not been in like the grey state long enough, or like under a grey sky long enough to actually have realised, okay, I'm starting to exhibit some symptoms of this seasonal depression or whatever it might be. That only comes about, I realised that maybe halfway through January, and I'd be like, oof, this is heavy now.
Yeah, fair.
You know.
Fair.
But for me, as I said, it's just the grey, it's more sort of dim lighting across the whole.
Yeah, the lack of light.
The lack of light I really struggle with.
I mean, it's found in research to significantly be associated with mood, light exposure. Yeah. So here's one I was saving for later, but can talk about now. Yeah, I mean, decades of research support this, that sunlight is directly associated with mood. To put it simply, more sunlight exposure equals better mood.
Yeah.
Self-rated, rated through all different measures. But just to name one study, Burns and colleagues in 2024, so only last year, published this study, and found that basically, to put it simply, low daytime light exposure was an important risk factor for mood, sleep, and other circadian related outcomes.
Interesting.
Measured, I mean, it's a very interesting study, and they also, when they did their analyses, they controlled for demographic factors such as employment and all of those things. So regardless of employment, because you might be like, oh, okay, well, it's your employment that's making your mood low, or it could be, differences in your age or whatever. They controlled for all of those things, and still, after controlling for those variables, found that an increase in sunlight exposure, so anything more than 2 or more hours of exposure to sunlight, was associated with better mood. Or when the sunlight wasn't there, it was associated, or exposure wasn't there, it was associated with increased symptoms of depression, anxiety, and agitation.
I'm not surprised.
That is one of many studies that find the same thing, that sunlight exposure is hugely influential in our mood. And there are mechanisms that explain that, which I think we'll unpack today.
100%. I'm not surprised by that at all. Like, it could be the exact same situation-ish, like with work, with just how your commute and everything. You wake up on a summer's morning, it's bright and early, you start the day, you're on the way to work, it's hot, you're in, a t-shirt and shorts, whatever it is, and you're cycling, there's a warm breeze, you're into work. Flip that, you wake up, it's dark.
Yeah.
You're on your way in, it's a bit drizzly and grey.
Yeah.
I truly believe our environment shapes us as people. I'm a massive believer in that. Genuinely, I am.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that if continual lack of light in the same situation, it makes that situation feel worse.
Yeah.
It just, you have far less, or I find I have far less emotional resolve in these situations when there's just less light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since you're asking,
how about you?
My
Marcus?
experience with there's an art to asking questions, Charlie.
Yep. I was asking in the first place.
Touché. So yeah,
I could assume that you are someone who. Well, let me ask you. You are someone who. I'm just playing. Please proceed.
Oh, right. Okay.
Did you not pick up what I was trying to do there?
No. I was just interested to hear your observation before I started.
No. It was,
oh.
I was
just patiently waiting.
Friendly,
what is your observation?
I'm keen to hear your thoughts first.
Okay. So I am someone who, struggles with the light, or lack thereof. I don't really notice it on like a macro scale or like a larger scale, and then all of a sudden the clocks go forward in spring and I'm like, what's this feeling? I feel really joyous and happy, and like there's something's lifted from my shoulders. Maybe that lends itself to sort of the gradual thing that you were explaining. But part of me's like, right now, I don't feel like it's been gradual. The last week, it's been so noticeably dark, and it's been sort of a real adjustment in the mornings, like waking up,
Yeah.
like physically. And I don't feel like that's a self-fulfilling prophecy or like a placebo of okay, it's darker, I'm expecting it to be harder. Like I didn't expect it to be as hard as it has been to sort of even wake up or be motivated to get up.
Yeah.
It just sort of has happened. So it is gradual, but I think also at the same time, like this year, it's not been, I don't think the darkness hasn't been. I think, is it more that you kind of just get used to it and get used to that sort of lower motivation and lethargy? So then when the spring comes around and the lights it gets lighter, you're like, oh, yeah, I just got so used to it that I'd forgot that this isn't how I always feel.
Is your feelings the same as how quick the season has shifted? Is your feeling the same with it? Like, are the feelings which you experience when there's less light, like you were saying there, you don't do well in, lower light or less light in the day, have the feelings which are associated with that turned as quickly as the seasons have shifted itself?
It's not been long enough to know whether it's been and I don't want to just like fully pathologize the seasons changing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to sort of come into the season being like, God, this has really lowered my mood and da 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 da. I just want to be kind of tentatively aware that might happen, but I don't want to sort of fully think that it's literally been a week or 2 weeks of it being noticeably darker.
Yeah.
What I will say is, though, to a point, I struggle in the darkness where, like, darkness itself is a concept my brain doesn't do well with. When I was younger, used to at night time get really, like, if we were on holiday or whatever, I would be there and the family would be at dinner, a restaurant somewhere on a holiday, and I would just be there at night being like hanging out, having some sort of panic attack probably, which I didn't even realize. Just, I want to get back, I want to be in a bed, because the bed felt like the safe place to me. Like, I just need to be safe, and I'm really uncomfortable and just like really anxious about. And at that stage of my life as a child, like, there was nothing tangible to be scared about, but like feeling that anxiety so high at nighttime was weird. I haven't really experienced that level since then, but even like I was mentioning to you, when I go to the cinema, for example, I'll come out of the cinema and feel those low levels of sort of simmering levels of anxiety, like rising, just because I've been submerged in darkness. Similar on the tube, like I know that's also a concept of like claustrophobia and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
I don't have claustrophobia, but speaking colloquially, like being, in
a tight space.
Yeah, in a tight
trapped,
space.
Yeah.
All of those things I think are feelings of being in darkness, and I experience anxiety associated with darkness. Everything seems to me, way less so now as an adult because I can rationalize it, but still, everything seems a lot more daunting, a lot more sort of scary or like not manageable at nighttime. And I always remember thinking as a kid, it'll feel better in the morning when you wake up, like in the daylight.
Really?
It just feels like it's less, I don't know, something in my brain, thinking back to when I was younger, just did not feel safe,
So
even though I was with like my family and all of those things. And it probably contributes to why, like, I'm not a massive night owl. I don't love going, like, I never used to love going clubbing and all of those things. I always get agitated and sort of, I guess thinking about it now, sort of would just rather be in like I don't like being in a dark pub where you can't hear or see anything. And there's other things to contribute there, like being loud and whatnot, but also the darkness just isn't like the best experience. I wouldn't say like I'm here in a nightclub having a panic attack because it's dark, but I just think the overall experience of darkness is something that, as I've become more aware of myself and my brain and how it works, I've sort of seen patterns of being like, I'm one of those people who experience darkness. And there is also research and psychological theory that contributes to this. So we know I'm an evolutionary psychologist. I love the evolutionary concepts. I was actually explaining to my students yesterday what evolutionary psychology means, because I take for granted that people know what that means.
What is it? I give me honest. What is it?
So evolutionary psychology is a concept within psychology, a broad concept that has many different theories within it, but it's a broad concept or principle that our brains, our behavior, our psychology is a result of many years of evolutionary adaptation, and the way that we behave now is a result of what has adapted to help us survive in our environment of evolutionary adaptation. So us having anxiety, us looking after offspring, us being connected as a community are all functions that have adapted in us as humans, and those functions have survived through natural selection, so that when they have evolved, say for example, a basic example, I have evolved to have a sensitive brain. I won't go into the names, but just a sensitive brain. My sensitive brain allows me to see threats over there. In this instance, it sees that bear is running towards me. Therefore, I'm hypervigilant to it and can run away. I'm more likely to survive than someone who has a less sensitive or aware brain, because they might not know as quickly to run away from that bear, putting it very simply. Therefore, my genes with my sensitive brain are more likely to survive and be passed on. So my behavior through hypersensitivity or awareness back in the environment where we were evolving and adapting survived because I survived those threats. Therefore, that has then passed on through generations and generations and millennia. That then translates to, we're in a modern world where our environment has evolved way quicker than we are able to evolve naturally. So we have modern stressors that our brains can't necessarily differentiate. For example, if we're sticking on the example of anxiety and sensitivity to threats, my brain can't, or some people's brains can't necessarily differentiate the threat of an email from your boss from a threat of a bear running towards you. So what might have been advantageous to adapt and have adrenaline pumping through your veins so you can run, all of those sorts of things, that's advantageous for you to survive from an evolutionary way of thinking. But in this modern world, it's less adaptive and less advantageous because my boss emailing me doesn't require me to go into fight or flight mode, but my brain has evolved to potentially do that, if that makes sense.
It does.
Sorry, carry on.
I was about to say, so bringing that back to
So how light comes into it is, I speak about this in quite a few episodes, but we have the amygdala in our brain.
Yep.
It's all about threat sensitivity and how we perceive threats. So that's the part of the brain I was talking about. The amygdala is shown to have increased functioning, and this is in functional magnetic resonance imaging studies. So where we're looking at the brain and its movements or its activities. In lower light, our amygdala is shown to have higher functioning across studies, across trends, and we'll put a study reference in here for if you're interested to look into. So our amygdala, which is the thing that that perceives threat and then tells the rest of your brain to react to that threat, is working harder at nighttime. And from an evolutionary standpoint, I say that's obvious, but I'm not going to assume. That makes sense in a sense of, it's dark, I need to be more alert because I can't see. There could be anything around me at nighttime in terms of predators or whatever's happening. Therefore, I need to be more ready and more attuned to threats, and therefore my amygdala is going to be working harder when it's darker.
Yeah, I mean, it links into so much of why, even if you're walking home from work or you're on your way to work and it's dark, if you want to go for a run but it's dark, all these things, like, of course you're going to feel like it's more dangerous or you feel more hypervigilant or anything. I remember, I know I'm very, very privileged to be able to even run outside when it's dark, and that's a whole thing in itself, which we actually covered a lot last week's episode. But something that I remember, I was on a run through Richmond Park, had no light, and a little animal just ran past me. It's like a tiny little badger or something.
Yeah.
The entire run, I was so on edge. It was pitch black and it was dark. I know it's a sort of loosely linked example, but when it is dark, you're far more on edge and a lot more anxious. So it's reasonable to then draw the conclusion that, sure, when it moves from summer to winter, we lose the light. We feel far more on edge. Yeah. We're far more anxious because we have less of that light.
Yeah. So naturally, when we see the amygdala, which is the threat sensitivity function, looking out for the negative things to react to them, when it's continually darker on average, we're more likely to have elevated activity there in that part of the brain. So we're seeing those threats and we're perceiving those threats, and we have that negativity attribution, and we're seeing those things that are there. That's one function that is contributing to
the way we feel.
this potential experience.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
I think something that's much more widely researched and understood in more of like a clinical, I'm not a clinical practitioner, just to say that there, but still from research, but also clinical practice, is the circadian rhythm.
Yes.
Do you know what that?
I do indeed.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm again also not a clinical practitioner as well, but the circadian rhythm is essentially our master clock, or our internal body clock, where it basically says realistically when to wake up and when to fall asleep.
Yeah.
With like what time should we naturally rise and naturally fall asleep. Alarm clocks are a thing of recent times. You know, back if you were a caveman, you weren't using an alarm clock. Typically, humans try, just like any sort of animal, will rise and go to sleep with the sun or with the light as well. Now, I found from my own personal journey with winter, it's, as we've just said now, so much harder to wake up. And yeah, even go to bed is, you go to bed sooner, whereas in the summer, you wake up like 5:30 or 6 a.m. easily because of the light.
Yeah.
It's blaring in, so it's...
Yeah. Exactly that.
Yeah. So it's, the circadian rhythm in general, sort of how it dictates when we wake up and go to sleep.
Yeah. It's a 24-hour cycle that is defined by things like our hormone levels and all of those things, right? And our levels of fatigue or lack thereof. And is, like you say, the master clock.
Yeah.
Not a neurobiologist,
But
to be fair, I am a doctor in psychology, so I do know my stuff. But yeah, I struggle with some of the the words, just saying them. But the suprachiasmatic, yes, nucleus, which is in the hypothalamus in your brain, is what we call, or what psychologists would call, the master clock. That is the part of the brain that is heavily responsible for our circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm itself is heavily influenced by light, and the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain receives information from our eyes, the retina, about light, which then influences the circadian rhythm itself. There are other variables that influence the circadian rhythm, such as food intake, exercise when our bodies are exercising, which is why, for example, it's advised not to run just before bed, because then you're kind of shocking your circadian rhythm and making it confused and thinking it's not time to sleep, for example, just as one example. But predominantly the circadian rhythm is heavily influenced by light. So, for example, in this master clock, or the circadian rhythm, serotonin and melatonin are two neurotransmitters which are very important and are influential in all of this. Serotonin being the pleasure hormone, it's there for our mood and tells us, so it gives us information about our mood and it helps us feel pleasure and all of those things. Melatonin is there it's called the sleep hormone. It sends us to sleep, basically. When there's less light, or light exposure to our eyes, tells our circadian rhythm to stop the production of melatonin. So melatonin ceases or reduces in production as the light comes up in the morning. So that then allows us to feel more alert, and then also serotonin starts to produce as the light comes up.
Interesting.
So when it's a darker morning, our circadian rhythm doesn't know to turn off the melatonin production, to put it simply, and to turn on the serotonin production. Again, very sort of simply put, it's a lot more complex than that. So therefore, it's dark at 7 a.m. I still feel really sleepy because my melatonin is still being produced, because my brain feels like I should be asleep because it's dark.
Something that I'm try to be very, very intentional with whenever the light allows is the first thing I do upon waking up is try and look outside for like at least a minute or 2 minutes. Just not look at the sun, but just try and get sunlight on my body or on my eyes, just, in general, for like a minute or 2 minutes. As it's gotten darker, it's far harder to do that because when I'm waking up, there is no sun. I've actually been using something which recently, the Lumi lamp. Not sponsored yet.
Lumi lamp.
Lumi lamp, yeah, is absolutely brilliant. It's this lamp. So instead of like an alarm clock on your phone, instead of setting it for 6 a.m. and then having that visceral reaction to when it goes off and you're in a deep sleep because, again, you're still producing the melatonin, as you say, because it's not light, this lamp will gradually rise in light for like half an hour from a really low level to bright light. And it basically simulates the sun rising. It's not the same, but it basically then, uses that reaction to stop producing the melatonin, as I'm understanding.
Yes.
Help you wake up far more naturally.
Yes.
I kid you not. This, we can always try and blur this if we're not sponsored yet. The wake ups have been so much easier.
Nice.
So much. Like, I'll naturally stir around 15 minutes before I'm meant to wake up. Like, just really brief, like, really, like in a really sort of easy way. And then when it comes to the alarm, I'm basically awake. It's great. I can't explain it, but it's great.
Yeah.
But that is, from what you're saying, the melatonin having
jealous.
stopped being produced.
Yeah. So melatonin being the sleep hormone that is there to send us to sleep as different functions, but that's the primary function of melatonin, which our brain produces when it's dark to send us to sleep.
Interesting.
On the inverse, the neurotransmitter serotonin also starts to increase, or the reuptake of it, to put it a bit more scientifically, but basically the use of it starts to increase as it gets lighter. And many studies, will put one or two in the references here if you find them interesting. Many studies show a direct connection between sunlight exposure and serotonin neurotransmitter levels. And again, just to reiterate, that serotonin is there for things like your mood, your sleep, alertness, sleep, but more lack thereof, alertness, your energy, your food intake, all of that. It's chemical associated with many things, but it's also heavily associated with your mood. Hence why not only the amygdala sensing threat, but lower levels of serotonin or lower activity of the serotonin neurotransmitter, as well as drowsiness from melatonin being increased. Yeah, lots of sort of biological underpinnings here.
Interesting. Because you use an alarm still, don't you?
Yes.
You still use the Alexa in your room to use an alarm.
Yeah.
Have you found recently, since it's gotten darker, it's you being like more shocked when the alarm goes off as compared to summer? Because I know in summer you'd be like up and awake before your alarm went off consistently, but now...
No, actually, personally, I'm finding I'm still waking up just before my alarm.
Seriously?
But the idea of getting up and the feeling that my brain has to get up is so strong. To not want to get up is so strong. And I'm someone who can usually, I know not everyone has this, but I'm usually someone who can like just get out of bed. My alarm goes off and I'm up out of bed.
Jesus.
The craving to stay in bed and not move and roll over is so much stronger. The pull to stay is so much stronger. To the point where, that feeling where you get in the middle of the night where you wake up and you're like, you kind of see the time, you're like, yes, I've still got like 3 more hours.
The best in the world.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
To the point where every morning over the last week I've been waking up and it's like 2 minutes before my alarm and I'm kind of like, well, I literally audibly, I'm like, flip's sake, because I just don't want to have to get out of bed in that moment. Yeah. But I know I'm like, well, I'm awake. I'm awake now. My alarm's literally about to go off. So,
wow.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. You're still waking up before your alarm, even though the light is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Because the body clock would say that should be later.
Yeah. So there's other factors. Like your body gets used to sleeping for a certain amount of hours, for example.
Of course. Yeah, that's the thing.
And also things like your stomach and whatnot is telling your brain it's probably time to get up to start eating soon, or all of those things.
This is something different as well.
But in terms of the light exposure, that's hugely important in those different variables, making it harder to wake up. And when I say wake up, I also mean like when I get up physically, I still feel more drowsy than I would be on a bright sunny morning.
Of course.
So yeah, it's that production. And like we were up. Well, I was up at 5:45 this morning, and it wasn't until like 7
a.m. it was light.
That it was light.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there in the darkness for a good hour and 15 minutes, for example.
Crikey.
Yeah.
I'm cracked out, my guy.
I know. But I think for us, what we want to make it important, because we know that these are, and we don't want to sort of it's really exciting to be able to share that, and just interesting from us to be able to share some of those mechanisms and explain those mechanisms as to why we might be feeling this way. But we also don't necessarily want to be sort of deterministic and be like, oh, okay, well, my hormones are changing. I've got more melatonin, for example. My sleep hormone is up. Therefore, there's nothing I can do about it, because we're not here to sort of do that. There's things that we can do and we can be intentional about to help
100%
with this, right?
100%. I mean, such a big thing for me, at least, is having these sorts of consistent pillars, or I wouldn't say even rituals. It's just movement is so easy and accessible, right? We all say in all of our episodes, basically, movement is one of our pillars in how we find joy.
Yeah.
And in summer, I find it's so easy to be outside and moving constantly, whether you're with friends or whatever it is, you're just cycling, you're going on a walk. It's so easy. There's so many reasons to not move in the winter. But it's cold, it's raining, you don't want to go outside. You've got something else inside which is happening, which is far more normal in the winter. For myself, I've had to find it's so important to carve out intentional movement in the winter to help. 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
It needs to happen. I need to sit down and be like, I'll need to go on a run at this day, or gym, whatever it is. Just have that carved out, because those things will keep you knocking over.
Yeah, because in line with that, what you touched on is also with the darker months, again, shown in research, comes a lot more isolation. There's less opportunity, as you say, for those things, for that interaction, for seeing someone. You are in more. You're hibernating more, to put it sort of informally or colloquially. Yeah. You're not out and about because there's less opportunity to do that. Therefore, that's another thing, again, shown in research, to contribute towards this experience of potential lower mood in the winter months, because you feel isolated potentially. Well, I certainly have experienced that in the past. So being intentional with, okay, I might not have just easy opportunities that just fall on my lap to see a friend or to meet someone new. Let me, like you say, be intentional with, find a time. If I don't feel safe to run in the dark, find a run club or find a class, whether it's, I don't know, a book club or whatever it is, that can allow me some of that social interaction that I would otherwise take for granted and just know is going to happen in the summer. In the winter, I might feel low, partly attributed to the isolation. What can I do, and where can I find places to interact with people?
And a lot of it goes down to the intentionality with it, is knowing and expecting that these things happen and not letting it catch you out. It's so easy in the summer to be unintentional, but I'd be outside or run into random people or anything like that. Yeah, it's important to realize, I think, that at least for myself, it has been, hey, winter comes with more isolation. Winter comes with less movement. Yeah, carve out intentional time to try and find community or movement.
Yeah. On that as well, it's important though I feel like, and as we're saying, not to necessarily be deterministic, and in being intentional, not saying, oh, in a week's time I'm going to be really low, so I'm intentional, I'm going to do something about it. Like, it's not it's not waiting or expecting to be low, but just knowing if those feelings do arise, that there is potential reason for that, and not to sort of catastrophize. So at the same time, we can maybe flip that and think, okay, I'm feeling low because maybe it's dark, it's cold, or whatever. Yep. But how can I maybe, even from my perspective, instead of being deterministic about it, just flip it, be like, okay, well, this is an opportunity for rest, for example, or this is an opportunity to feel comfortable and cozy, or those lovely wholesome things, like if you're lucky enough to have a fire in your house, or if you want to watch films. I know a bit of a cozy thing is, I don't know if you know this, but every year they put Harry Potter on ITV on a Sunday, and in my brain that's a bit of like a cozy ritual, even though I don't necessarily sit and watch them all. I just know that that's a cozy thing, that there's an opportunity there. And it's flipping it from, God, this is bleak and dark and grey, to, yeah, it is raining and it is grey and the sun isn't out all the time, but I maybe could be cozy. I maybe could enjoy.
It's reframing it. Yeah. It's reframing the season. Like, animals change with the season. Why shouldn't we? It's
regeneration, regrowth, all of those things.
100%. I'm not sure if it's a cultural thing or whatever it is, but there seems to be a bit of a, not a trend, but a want to have an eternal summer. As with everything we say, there's all that balance of, the highs and the lows. They both need to be there. If it was always sunny, we wouldn't appreciate the sun. Yeah. Like, we just wouldn't. So, like, the fact we get these changing seasons is such a beautiful thing. Yeah. Seeing it for what it is and reframing it to what can I get out of this winter? So, as you were saying, This is a time of rest. Maybe it's a time where I can creatively lean into things because
Yeah.
I've got more time on my own hands instead. I might not be going out as much and seeing friends, but let me work on something that I've been wanting to do for a while, or learn a new language because I'm indoors more. So all these things you can reframe winter and these, cozier months, as you say, to lean into it.
For me, I've been like, for us, again, amazingly privileged, but we had loads of different sort of adventures and excursions this summer.
Yeah.
I remember at the end of our last trip that we were on together, I was like, I'm looking forward to the winter months so that there's a bit more stability in work and like creating and doing all of this mood booster stuff, because
100%.
while the holidays had been amazing and like bucket list things, it was also taking away from creativity and nurturing a passion in that way. Very much fulfilling in many ways, but also it meant that I wasn't able to give my full attention and love and care to something that I love and care about so much. So that's just for me a personal reflection of what I'm looking forward to and doing. I'm going to be in more, I'm going to be having less time traveling and all of these things. Again, like not moaning, but saying
Routine.
it's just an opportunity to be able to nurture something that I love.
100%.
More so.
This summer's been so full on with no real routine or anything. Yeah, I've also found in the past 2 weeks I've kind of enjoyed the routine of whether it's working out more consistently or doing this sort of creative work more consistently, just finding time for it as well. Also just seeing family is it's difficult, like around doing all these cool adventures to see people or see family consistently. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Again, but it's reframing the season, isn't it? To what can I get out of it instead of what am I losing from this previous season?
Yeah.
Summer will be back again. It always is.
Yeah.
It always comes around. But it's knowing instead of what you're missing, what you're looking forward to from the winter.
I have friends, a specific colleague comes to mind. I won't say her name because I don't know if she wants to be mentioned, but her favorite season is this season, and I see her from her like
winter.
Autumn.
Yeah.
I see her from like her Instagram stories and stuff. Like she's very much leans into the things you can do in autumn, like
The Halloween.
nice walks, Halloween. She's got pumpkins on her story and all those things.
Yeah.
And I really like and see that. However she feels about the darkness and things, I don't know, but something that she is doing is just enjoying all of those things that externally come with that change in seasons.
Yeah.
She's really leaning into it, and it's nice to see.
It's embracing what's to come. It's embracing the change.
Yeah.
It's cozy maxing.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity for the winter. I mean, not even just like leaning in creativity, but little things, as you've said, like more tea inside, films, cozy maxing, like go to a cool cafe or pub and sit there and write for an hour,
Well, the Danish do it well, don't they?
The hygge.
The hygge.
The hygge.
Hygge,
as you call it.
No matter your accent.
No matter where you're from.
The hygge.
The Danish do it well.
The concept of cozy in Danish.
Hygge.
It's so ingrained in the culture that it's got its own term, hygge, and it's in the darker months, it's being cozy. It's a feeling more than a thing. It's a feeling of hygge. Hopefully I'm explaining this correctly, of we're cozy, we're coming together. It's got that family, not necessarily exclusively family, but like family, we're all here together sharing this candlelit experience, to put it like metaphorically, but also literally. And feeling warm and cozy in that, and really leaning into that to make it that warm internal feeling.
100%.
Because that warmth comes internally in the winter months for them, as opposed to from an external literal sun, for example.
Yeah, when we were over there, everyone was saying how the entire city basically, or at least in Copenhagen, shuts down. Like, you don't see anyone outside. People are still inside, but you don't see anyone outside.
Inside being cozy.
Yes. Yeah. So, So the word hygge basically means, as you've just said, leaning into that cozy feeling and embracing it, because there's a lot of joy to be found in that cozy feeling as well.
Yes,
a lot of joy there. Different from the summer.
Yeah.
You say?
No, carry on.
No, what was that?
No, I was just going to say, talking of joy.
Talking of joy.
Tips for finding joy in the darker months.
Indeed, tips and tools that you can use to find joy in this seasonal change.
A nice little summary, I think, of our discussion, right?
I think so.
Lead the way.
Well, starting off, getting light first thing in the morning if you can from anywhere.
Secondly, anchor your day with movement.
Number 3 is to create some seasonal rituals.
Number 4, reframe how you see these darker months.
And lastly is to prioritize connection.
Nice.
Yep.
Should we break it down?
100%.
Let's break it down.
So light first thing, as we were saying, everything there with the circadian rhythm, your hormones, which are changing as well, whether it's melatonin or serotonin. Make sure you're trying to get some light first thing, whether that's from the sun when it does rise. Make sure you're intentional with knowing when the sunrise is and trying to get as much of it as possible, or just starting off your day in light.
Yeah. Even like getting outside, because also we're inside more. I didn't go into this research, but because it's darker and colder, we don't go outside as much. So therefore that hugely contributes to our light exposure. We feel like what we're saying here, and what the research also shows, is it doesn't have to be direct sunlight. There's still so much UV exposure that you get from just being outside. It's right now at time of recording, it's cloudy and dark outside. You would still, according to the research, be able to really help that circadian rhythm by just being outside.
100%.
Under a grey sky is much better than
There's
not,
still
not
light.
at all. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be direct sunlight. There's still light.
Number 2 is anchoring your day with movement. I think it just helps also in line with that, getting outside, finding some sort of way to move your body, get all of those things moving around in your brain, the alertness, all of those things, to put it simply, the energy levels, the different hormones that are at play here that we've already gone through. If we can move our body, a brisk walk, whether that's a run, if a bike ride, whatever your vice is, I think let's start with walking, because walking is so severely underrated.
100%. Get some movement in.
Just a little bit of movement can help facilitate all of those things.
Be intentional with it, because it might slip.
And that's the thing. I think we do that movement in the summer a lot more just by not realizing. A lot of these tips and this advice and these tools is about the intentionality here, because they're not something we do by default necessarily in the winter.
No, they sort of slip. So it's just being intentional with them. 100%.
Yeah.
Number 3 was to create your sort of seasonal rituals. So as we've just said, being intentional, it's winter. What can you lean into with some certain rituals, whether it's, even changing your diet, to have more sort of hearty vegetables, more cozy dinners, more candles, more journaling, more writing. Lean into the hygge, lean into the cozy season. Big thick layers, not necessarily a pelt, but lean into it, get pumpkins going, whatever it is, make a fire if you can, just do anything to sort of lean into the winter season. Become a Viking in, hibernation and lean into it. Not quite, but.
And linking back to one of our previous episodes, can't remember the number, but tradition. Go listen if you haven't already. These rituals, traditions, similar thing. Super important when we're feeling low. 100%. They really help ground us. They give us meaning. They give us purpose.
100%.
So these rituals are really lovely in these times when we might, at a baseline, be feeling lower. They just give us that sort of warmth and inner purpose and connection to not only ourselves, but to other people. I think reshifting that mindset and reshifting how we're seeing this shift is important as well. Maybe from moving it from like a loss of, I've lost the summer, I've lost the sun, to more of a growth idea of, okay, this is an opportunity here. This is an opportunity for recuperation, for rest, for comfort, for all the things that are also important to me. So if we can just even restructure, I say just, but if we can just restructure that way of looking at it, we go into it with such a better growth idea that, okay, we've got things to look forward to. We're excited about this concept. It's not something that we're losing. It's something that we're gaining, but just in a different way. Yeah,
exactly. You've said it well there. Just the reframing.
Thank you.
Reframe how you see winter.
Yes.
Rest and hibernate. Recuperate. And lastly is to prioritize the connection. So it's similar to the movement. These things might slowly, let us go if we're not intentional with it. Make sure that you carve out time to see people, whether it's, instead of being outside, playing football, whatever it is, maybe it's inside in a cool cafe and you're having a good coffee, catching up with someone. Just make sure that you prioritize the connection with people, as with winter can come loneliness and isolation. Just make sure that you're aware of that and that you're prioritizing connection with people, because that can bring so much joy, especially in even festive months like Christmas. 100%.
Brilliantly said, my friend.
Thank you very much.
I think Christmas is a bit of a middle ground there, where it's like that connection is still fostered, because people are often doing Christmas plans. January is really bad for that, because everyone's just like, we're so socially exhausted from the Christmas, so I'm just going to do nothing for a whole month. And
then you don't.
Oh my goodness.
With anyone, or you don't move, or be intentional with those months to find connection and everything else with that we've just said as well.
Indeed.
100%.
Great stuff.
Bring on the winter.
Bring on the winter.
Bring on the cozy seasons.
Where's my jumper? Oh, I'm wearing it.
You're wearing a jumper.
It is muy frio. Thanks for that. That was lovely.
You're welcome.
Really enjoyed
It
that.
was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cozy season.
Cozy Susan.
Cozy season.
SZN.
Season.
Lovely job.
That was wonderful. That boosted my mood.
It did? Oh, great
Well,
stuff. Talking of...
Well,
talking
Marcus,
of... Yes.
what has boosted your mood this week? What's your weekly mood boost?
What's my weekly mood boost? My weekly mood boost is Eleanor, who came to Run Club. It was really nice to see just a connection that had been fostered, that then the longevity of that connection was something that stood out to me. So Eleanor came to Run Club on Monday. She was like, it's extremely enthusiastic, lovely lady. And she was like, oh, yeah. I was like, how did you find the club? She was like, I know Charlie, we used to go to the gym together. Basically, right, you haven't seen her since like February?
It's been a long time. Back when I was in Shoreditch, I used to go to this gym, and it's like CrossFit gym there. And she was there. She was a regular. And when we'd started this whole project, I was explaining to her, and then mentioned about the Run Club as well before going to Rome, before going to the marathon.
Yeah, she said about that.
Did she? Exactly. Yeah. And so she was like, "Oh, cool! I should check it out." I've not heard from her since moving over west. And I just heard from Marcus that she's at the Run Club, which is amazing to hear. So
what boosted my mood was like having seen a connection or heard from you that it was like not back in February, whenever.
Yeah.
Speaking to her, and she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, you must have been just waiting in the group chat then." She was like, "No, I haven't been in the group chat. I just it's that time was something I remembered, and that connection is something I remembered. So I've just remembered now to come back because it's something I've been wanting to do for ages. So it was really cool to see all that time later. And moreover, not only that, she was just a really lovely person and really cool. And was like, "Oh, I'm loving everything you're doing. The podcast is really cool." And just showed some lovely interest and keen. Like, it was like she was lovely.
How cool!
Yeah,
That's really cool.
What about you?
My mood boost for the week, it was actually about you.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, there we go.
Golly,
it can't be about me, apparently, so it has to be about... No, I'm just playing. So, you've recently started, obviously, lecturing again.
Yes.
And a bunch of your students who had to pick you for the... they had to pick you for the Supervisor, sorry. And apparently you were sold out within,
minutes.
Instantly. Within minutes, everyone rushed to book you in.
Yeah.
You can tell the story better than you, but when you told me, I was like, this is wicked.
Thank you.
So high in demand from your students. That's great.
Very
that
cool.
feeling I can't imagine is amazing.
Really cool. I had no idea. I had a meeting. So it's to supervise students on their dissertations for their final year projects, whether that's undergraduate or master's students. That's one of my roles. And I was told by my student, she was like really excited and just a lovely student and really engaged. I was like, I have to tell you, I almost didn't have your supervisor, and I was so angry. I was so upset, and then proceeded to tell me the story of how she set her alarm to come on and book me when the options went live, and then very quickly I became unavailable because I was just booked so quickly. It's just like, I needed to go speak to this person and this person because I wasn't going to let it go. And then she managed to, I don't know what happened, but she spoke to someone and it got sorted out. And I was like, wow, this is really surreal in this moment.
How flattering is that? Your work is so good, you've sold out within minutes. Yeah. That's how you know that you're doing well. Yeah. That's like a really good marker.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Well done.
Yeah.
Flattering.
Thank you very much for bringing that up.
No worries. Yeah, that boosted my mood.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you.
There we go.
Hope you've enjoyed the episode.
Yes, I most certainly have.
Yes, a lot to learn there. A lot to go forward with as well in your toolkit.
I think it's just
that you have been given.
Yeah, I think it's just something that we know is happening, or I know is happening in my brain, and it's really nice to just sit and have a moment to actually unpack all of it. Well, not all of it, but lots of it, and think about the next however long and how we want to move into this. So
of course,
not only giving you advice, but also, as always, us just figuring it out 100%.
Ourselves. Leaning into it.
Very interesting,
100%.
as always.
Very interesting stuff.
Hope you enjoy.
That's the Mood Booster podcast.
Please leave comments, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you are. Leave us a comment to let us know what you're going to do this winter to keep your mood boosted.
Yes, tell us one thing. If you're listening to this so far, tell us one thing, because then we'll know you've made it to the end.
Yes.
And we'll thank you very much for it.
Thank you for listening.
Love to have you here. Thank you. Right, if you want to do some ASMR.
Yeah, I will do.
I'll have to turn it off.
Winter months are coming and it's gonna be a great